John was my first landscape customer. He was my first business-to-business customer. I met him like 4 years ago. He was a lawn and landscape guy. I had just sold my last lawn and landscape business. I had sold it for 80 grand. I had some starting capital, and I had launched JIT Supply at that time. And I was at a trade show. I was looking for landscapers. I met John. So John had this lawn and landscape business, and he was one of my customers for like 2 or 3 years, and he was just a fabulous customer the whole way out. And at some point along the way, he really became discontent with his business. He just couldn't break through. He was doing well. He was making good money, but he was just like, he couldn't keep employees, and he just really wasn't loving life, right? And at that point, I talked to him and I said, John, why don't you sell your business? And he's like, nah, man, it's not worth anything, you know, I'll just close it down. And I was like, bro, a business is always worth something. Got himself into a really baller pontoon boat with like a 300 on the back or something like that. Started doing charters around town, kind of like the Booze Cruise charter. And then that business kind of took off, right? It just kind of rolled downhill. On-site Trav, you guys can drop that on the screen so people can follow that on Snapchat. But and now that thing's taken off, and he does, I think his charters are $800 for a 4-hour session, or he does like $1,200 for like the full 8-hour day. And then typically he gets tipped on top of that. So John went and rented a house on the water. He's got a boat lift in the backyard. He's got his new boat, and now he just does his charters from his boat, and like he's taking next month off, and like he's just loving life because he's doing exactly what he wants to do. Today is about building a business and about selling a business. I've done this 5 times. I've sold 4 businesses, but I've sold accounts. I've sold parts of businesses prior to that. First business I sold, I was 18. I had started a lawn company, I was 16, like a lot of you guys on here. And when I built it, I got to like 18, my parents were like, you really need to go to school, this and that. I kind of disagreed with them. But anyway, we got to the point where I was like, oh, I got to do something with this business. And I sold it, and I sold it for 50 grand. So I was 18. I just graduated high school about a week prior. It was June 1st. I graduated high school like a week or 2 before that. And I got a check for like 50 G's, right? And it really wasn't that much. Here's what you need to know to build and sell any business. 1, the value of the business is very, very dependent on the client list. That's the customer list, right? So you're going to need to have, like, the more reoccurring customers you have, the better. But customers are what makes a business valuable. All right, so that's the first thing you've got to do. I will sell on-site land works and buy my plane with it. That's my 36-month plan, is to build up on-site land works, and then I'm going to sell it and buy my plane and go into my next business, which I'm going to talk about here. The revenue trail, which is your customer list, is what your business is going to be valued at on the intangibles side. So that's the number 1 thing you've got to have, is you've got to have a customer list. The number 2 thing you've got to have is some strategic operating procedures, like kind of like, this is how we do this. And you've got to have that stuff really well mapped out so that the new owner comes into it, and the reason that he's coming into it and buying a business instead of trying a business is he wants something that's already up and successful that he can buy and already rock. Your job as an entrepreneur is to figure out those SOPs and to get those customers. Once you've got that, you kind of add in the value of the assets, which is like your equipment. Maybe you have trucks or computers or cameras or whatever it is. It's going to go into the number, the figure, and then your people and teams and how many of those people are going to stay around. At some point there, you'll have like a balance sheet, and you'll have some sort of valuation of the business to offer people, right?